Shadow football. As we are in the midst of the winter break of the WSL, I thought it would be a good idea to go over how each team lined up tactically. I am aware of the fact that the winter transfer window is going on right now, so it might not be entirely accurate come the restart with changes happening in different teams, but hopefully this video will give you a better understanding on the tactics that each WSL team like to use. We'll start with the clubs that either play a 3 at the back formation or 5 at the back. Leicester, Brighton, and to an extent West Ham all play some form of 3-4-3. Leicester started the season with a 4-2-3-1, but recently they've switched to a 3-4-3. West Ham have also used the 5-3-2 structure at times this season, so I guess we'll talk about all of those once we get the 3-4-3 out the way. So, a 3-4-3 lines up like this. You have 3 centre backs, a left wing back and a right wing back, 2 central midfielders, 2 wingers, and a centre forward. The idea of this formation is to heavily utilise the wing backs for width in attack, whilst also relying on them to come back and defend as a fullback. Here's England and Chelsea fullback Niamh Charles accurately describing the role of a wing back.
As long as you're quite attacking with it, I think it's a really nice position to play. You can sort of get up and get down and you're involved in a lot. But it is get up in the box. If you're not in the box, where are you? And if you're not in the other box, where are you?
Leicester and Brighton play roughly the same way in the 3-4-3 formation, using a tall, strong centre forward to lead the line. Leicester have Lena Peterman and Brighton have Elizabeth Turland, both strong players when it comes to their aerial threat, allowing the teams to play proper Brexit football and pump the ball long, looking for one of their heads to nod it down to their teammates, as well as having skillful players like Pauline Bremer and Katie Robinson for Brighton, and Jutta Ranttila for Leicester to build an attack on the ground from the back. Key players for both teams are their strikers. Peterman and Turland both serve very crucial roles in their teams. They are the team's main focal point in attack, and they are trusted with the goal-scoring duties. And it's safe to say both of them have done quite well, honestly, despite the limited service. West Ham, on the other hand, have been playing a 3-4-3 with Ureki Rico, Viviane Asseyi and Jessica Ziu up front, ditching the 5-3-2 they've used for the first couple of months. Essentially what they've done is remove a midfielder and added a forward. If Rayan Skinner is dead set on playing a 3 at the back formation, I think the 3-4-3 will suit them better following the arrival of former Manchester City midfielder and US Women's National Team's World Cup winner in 2019, Sam Mewis' sister Christy Mewis. Mewis is a left winger with a bunch of pace, an eye for space, and a goal-scoring ace. Hopefully Mewis' arrival will see West Ham go up a gear in attack, as her quality and experience will be much needed in the fight for WSL survival. Shelina Sadorsky is also a welcome acquisition for them to shore up their defence, as is Katrina Gorry to add some steel and quality to their midfield. On to the Merseyside clubs, and funnily enough, Everton and Liverpool both play the 3-4-1-2 formation. The 3-4-1-2 shape has 2 forwards and an attacking midfielder, requiring the width of the team to be supplied completely by the wingbacks. Everton like to drop both of their strikers back and have their attacking midfielder run in behind the defence. Running in behind is usually Nicoline Sørenson's job, and she's been great for Everton so far this season. Hopefully she can keep up her performances for the rest of... never mind. This is awkward. In that case, Hannah Bennison is the player that keeps Everton ticking. Energetic in both attack and defence, she's the player that can really drive Everton forward if given the time and space, and she's just great to watch. Liverpool's 3 at the back system is slightly different compared to everyone else's. It's not as straightforward as it seems. I did a whole in-depth analysis on Liverpool's system in my last video, so if you want a fully detailed analysis, go check out that video. But the main difference that sets Liverpool apart is Gemma Bonner, who steps into midfield and creates a 4-2-2 formation, pushing the 2 midfielders higher up to utilise their fantastic playmaking abilities. Their key player for me is Kerry Holland. She's someone who just does not stop running. She will close down anything, and she's great at finding space for herself in dangerous areas. She's not the most technical player, but she's the kind of player you need to balance out the attacking talents of Melissa Lawley and Sophie Roman-Haug. It's always hard to differentiate between who's really playing a 3-back or a 5-back formation, but if you're looking for a team who play a definitive 5-back, look no further than Bristol City. Their 5-4-1 has been pretty apparent, and they're a team that like to sit back, soak up the pressure, and going forward, they know that they're not going to get too many chances playing such a defensive system, so they'll be looking for efficiency rather than quantity of chances. Amelie Theostrup has been great at getting the goals for them, and Amy Rogers has looked good in their midfield. Both are important players in their team, but Thiestrup is the only player to have scored more than 1 goal for Bristol so far this season, so I'd say she's the key player in the fight to not go straight back down to the Championship. That brings us to the end of the teams that primarily use a 3 or 5 back formation. On to the 4 back systems, and we'll start with Aston Villa. It doesn't take a keen eye to see that Carla Ward's side have been struggling this season, but I don't think it's the fault of the formation. Villa are the only team in the league that consistently play a midfield 3, and in a midfield 3, you'd want one to be a holding midfielder, who is Lucy Staniforth or sometimes Rachel Corsie, someone to sit in front of the defence and protect them. You'd want an energetic box-to-box midfielder who can defend and attack as well. Jordan Nobbs fits that role nicely. And the other midfielder can be slightly more attacking-minded, like Kenza Dali. The system is all about getting the ball to Rachel Daly, who is a fantastic finisher and someone Villa rely heavily on to grab the goals. Adriana Leon is also a goal-scoring threat and just an absolute workhorse off the ball. The midfield should be nicely balanced now that Dali is back to provide that attacking spark that Villa so desperately need, with Staniforth and Corsie able to anchor the midfield and Jordan Nobbs providing the everlasting energy for the Villa engine room. Let's have a chat about Tottenham Hotspur. Except I already made a video about their tactics, so feel free to check that one out if you want a very, very in-depth analysis. Anyhow, Spurs play a 4-4-2. Robert Villaham wants his side to build out from the back and play free-flowing, fluid, attacking football, whilst defending deep in their own half in true 2000s English football style, with 2 banks of 4 and 2 hard-working forwards chasing down everything. Spurs have signed Matilda Winberry from Hammarby, and I think she should be a fantastic addition to the Spurs team. She's an exciting winger with lots of pace and skill and should occupy the left wing position when Grace Clinton goes back to Manchester United when she finishes up her loan at the end of the season. Key player for Spurs is, I'd say, the 2028 Ballon d'Or winner, Grace Clinton. I'm starting to think she has magnets in her boots because the ball seems to stick to her feet whenever she has it. She's an outlet Spurs use to relieve pressure and exit their own half, and I would love to see her make her England debut in 2024. With the imminent return of Evelina Summanen and Olga Attinen from injury, Spurs will be looking to finish in the top half of the table this campaign. Moving across North London, and we have Arsenal who play in a 4-2-3-1 system. Well, actually, Chelsea, Man City and Man United all use that formation, but there are nuances between how each team set up despite using the same shape. Arsenal and Chelsea are very similar in their use of the formation, so I'll explain both team systems together. It's a pretty straightforward system as well, where the centre forward is able to run in behind or drop back. The right winger is usually right-footed and can drift wide or tuck in, allowing the right back to attack as well. Johanna de Tinkanerud, Beth Mead and Chloe Lacasse all have the ability to cut back onto their left foot, which adds more unpredictability to their attack. The left winger is usually right-footed as well, like Caitlin Ford or Lauren James, cutting in mostly and leaving the width to the left back. The 2 central midfielders should balance each other out. One more defensive and the other a box-to-box, and the central attacking midfielder is the glue that holds everything together, whether it's making runs in behind herself or playing her teammates into space. Fran Kirby and Kim Little are 2 prime examples of exceptional players in that role. The difference between Arsenal and Chelsea is how they defend. Arsenal tend to sit back more and attack on the counter, whilst Chelsea like to press high and win the ball in the opposition half. Key players for both teams. Let's see. Sophie Ingle for Chelsea to balance out the almost cheating amount of attacking talent in the Chelsea team, and Alessia Russo for Arsenal, since I think she's the most complete number 9 amongst the Arsenal forwards. Finishing off with the Manchester clubs, both play a 4-2-3-1 where they have a left-footed player on the left wing and a right-footed player on the right wing. Galton and Hemp occupy the left side, and Chloe Kelly and whoever bribes Mark Skinner the most that week out of Mallard, Paris, Jace or Garcia will get to start on the right side for United. The difference between the Manchester 4-2-3-1 and the London 4-2-3-1 is that the London version is slightly more lopsided to the left, with the left back often pushing higher up than the right back since the left winger operates in a freer role. The Manchester version is more symmetrical, as Galton and Hemp on the left side both possess ridiculous crossing ability, which means they tend to go down the line more rather than cut in. What's interesting about City is that Hemp and Kelly like to go back to the 2000s tactics and switch sides. Seriously, we don't see this from teams anymore in both men's and women's football. They do this to add a different level of threat to their attack, both players equally capable of cutting in as well as going wide. City pretty much have their front 4 players set, with Rord to pull the strings and Shaw to lead the line. Manchester United seem to leave it to the Magic 8 Ball to decide who starts alongside Leah Galton and Ella Toone, And this is painful to watch because I am a Manchester United fan and I just want to see some consistency in the team selection. Key players for both teams, I'm torn between Bunny Shaw and Alex Greenwood for City, but let's go with Greenwood since she's extremely underrated and isn't talked about enough. She's a fantastic defender with, quite frankly, a scary range of passing. For United, it'll have to be Ella Toone. I detailed in my last video United's attacking woes and the fact that she's not getting the ball enough. But if United can have these kinds of conversations in the dressing room...
He literally said to Scholesy, Carrick, Chinji and Wayne, if you cannot find him, you will not play.
They can fix that in the second half of the season. That's it! We're done! This was my sort of brief guide into how each team in the WSL like to play. If I went into more depth, this would be a 5-hour long video, so I've decided to keep it short and hopefully sweet. I'm intrigued to see where this season goes. This season so far has provided so many twists and turns, and if the first few months are anything to go by, we should be in for a real cracker of a season.